We're on.
Was that your chair? Okay.
Yeah, that was definitely my chair.
What a great way to open the show.
He said the same thing on the plane.
Oh, is that what it was? The chair? Oh, that's funny.
Oh man.
So, but yeah, anyway, so as I was saying, it's easy to watch, but when you listen to your own voice, it's the worst. Because I heard the other day, or not the other day, but a few years ago, I noticed that it's the sound of your own voice because it echoes off your own skull.
Really?
On the inside. That's why it sounds different than when you listen to a recording. Like, I don't sound like that.
Yeah, that's
I
interesting.
was like, yeah, you do. It's just,
I didn't know that.
Definitely do.
That's how it bounces off.
I kind of like how I sound. So I'll listen to myself.
All right.
You would. Like,
Would you really?
Yeah.
That's what Kristian puts on to fall asleep at night.
Yeah.
He's like, no, we're wearing the headphones. I'm listening to myself.
Yeah. I do my own manifestations. You are amazing, Kristian.
You're the champ. You're the champ.
You're the champ.
When Kristian
affirmations. I mean.
when he makes love, he goes, "Let me put on some new music." Hey, Kristian, it's Kristian.
You're the champ.
I hope that moon is shining on that wax butt of yours. I had a couple come up to me after a show. They had bought my first album a while ago when they went to see me, and they told me that she puts it on when they have sex.
Shut up.
My album.
You serious?
Yeah, but it's not even like. There's nothing even romantic about it.
How did that even start? One day they just had it on and they were like, oh, we have to continue this?
I don't know. Unless maybe she turned it on. Maybe it was him and he's blaming her.
Maybe she likes your voice. Maybe you don't like your voice.
Probably
what,
that's probably what it was. It's like, cause sometimes you'll get after a show someone like, oh, I like your accent. It's like, yeah, but what about the jokes where they find, like, I don't, like, that's not my compliment I'm looking for. Like, after one of your fights, they go, yo,
I
Jess,
like your gloves.
Yeah, there were some awesome gloves there. Yeah, but
what about you?
Yeah, never mind that, the gloves.
That's funny.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a new twist on it. So anyway, we got to do you have a drink with you?
Yeah, we do this all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
So Jess and Kristian, welcome everybody. I
Thank
got you.
you.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, man. This is nice. Thanks for letting me borrow your studio for once.
Oh, anytime,
This is
man.
great.
Anytime. For once. What do you mean anytime?
Yeah, but I don't have to do any editing because that's one of my the things I shy away from is editing. And stuff. Yeah. I have another podcast with 2 other comedians. And we haven't put up in 2 weeks because one of the guys' grandfather died.
Oh, sorry.
Excuses. Yeah,
I've seen it though. I've seen it. You have 3 different screens.
Yeah. So we're trying to work on something that we're going to put a green screen behind us, where each one of us has a solid color.
Okay.
Instead of like Dennis Rooney's fucking books and Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Do you do your own editing on them?
I don't do them. Oh. Dan, the other guy on it, he does. Like I'm just not a tech savvy guy at all in any way.
Yeah, I'm lucky I have an editor. I know how to use the cameras and the audio, and he just edits it.
You know,
makes my life easy.
Did you ever watch The Office?
I didn't. I've never seen The Office, which is crazy.
Well, Steve Carell plays like this boss in it, and I mean, I don't have to explain The Office to people out there, but he has one line in it where he's trying to raise money for charity, and like it reminds me of how out of touch with technology I am. He's like, yeah, so we're gonna, it's gonna be a good event. We're gonna have people from YouTube come down and film it. Like he thought,
that would be me, honestly.
Like if something was happening on YouTube, like a cat fell out of a tree, like the YouTube team turned up,
comes up.
Yeah, no, don't work like that. That's funny.
So you are, which we found out today. I mean, you probably already knew about it, right? You're ranked number 4.
I had no idea, and I never even thought that. Like, I texted Kristian. I'm like, I never even thought I could be ranked. Like, this is such a surreal thing for me. Like, I remember when I first started boxing, I would always look at the girls that were ranked in my division, and I'd be like, oh my God, like, that's so cool. Imagine being able to say that, like, you're ranked in, like, the top 10 fighters in the country. Like, and now I text. So I didn't even check the rankings because I was like, oh, I'm not going to be ranked. Right. And my friend Raquel, who I was sparring with getting ready for this tournament, she actually won the tournament at 141. And she just sent me a screenshot of the rankings, and I was like, oh my God, I'm number 4. And I sent it to him right away. I'm like, how is this even possible?
I'm going to cry. Yeah. this is great.
Yeah. And it's so cool because right away, and how it's been all along, as soon as like I started sending it to people or posting it, like my phone was like blowing up. And it's everyone from Strong Island that's like, oh my God, congratulations, that's amazing. Like, so supportive. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was the funny thing was, like, I do what a lot of people probably don't do. Is I read all the names as well. I didn't go like Jess number 4. Yes, I was like Jennifer Lopez. I was like, what kind of ranking is this?
Yeah. But you're not the only person that did. They're like, Jennifer Lopez.
All right, I guess I'm not original.
No, that's really cool though.
That was, man.
Ranked number 4 in the nation. That's big. And it was a originally 30 plus girls that registered for the tournament
in my division.
in your division
Yeah.
to be ranked 4 in the country against girls that've been around for a while.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
It's
Against
huge.
girls
Yeah,
that
man.
were ranked higher than me even going into this. So I was looking at these names at number 1 and number 2, and I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to even compete with these girls? And now I'm ranked above them.
Yeah.
So when you got to watch all these obviously fight when you were down in Louisiana, right? That's where it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shreveport.
Shreveport.
Louisiana.
Shreveport.
Did you like it? Did you like?
I loved it. It was such a crazy experience. It was not anything that I expected to be. It was like way more mentally taxing and just
Tell me about
difficult. More difficult than I even imagined that it could be. But I'm so happy that I did it, and I can't wait to do it again. And I come home, and now I'm home, and I'm like, oh, I miss nationals. Like I miss
Right.
it. It's such a high, and it's such like you feel so alive doing it. It's just I can't even explain it.
it. Yeah, she did awesome.
Yeah, dude, it was funny because you would listen to the commentator and
Christian's commentating.
yeah, that was. I was talking to him about that afterwards. We'll get into that. But but like when I would hear fighting out of Seville.
I know.
Seville.
Seville.
Could you hear that too?
I heard it too. I'm like, it's a pretty simple word. Say
Yeah.
Bill. Say Bill. Like,
I was like out of Seville,
Yeah.
and me and my son were watching it. I'm like, fucking Seville.
Where's
Where the heck-
Seville?
Where's
Yeah.
Seville?
Where's
Dad? I don't
Seville?
know where that is. I'm like, yeah,
Your son's
you're
funny.
asking a foreigner.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you find that because there was no crowd there? Did you find that in your favor? Like, were you more relaxed because there was no crowd, or would you rather have had the crowd?
Honestly, I think I liked it without the crowd. But at the time, I wasn't even really thinking about the crowd. I think I was just, there was so much other things going on. I wasn't even thinking about the crowd. But now looking back, I kind of liked it. But at the same time, I still knew there was, even though physically there weren't a lot of people there and there wasn't the screaming and all the noise and the commotion that there would normally be, I knew so many people were watching this. So I knew there was more people watching than if I was fighting somewhere at a show fight or like a club fight and there was a crowd and there was a few hundred people there. I knew that the amount of people that were watching was still way more than that, even
Okay.
though they weren't physically there. So there was still that, I don't even want to say pressure. Like I kind of liked it. I kind of liked knowing that there was so many people watching. So yeah, I was okay with it.
Yeah, because I've seen interviews with fighters, especially with you, because I think UFC were the first ones to kind of go back during COVID.
Yep.
They were the first kind of major sport. And some were saying, I loved it. It was like you felt as relaxed, like it was just sparring session because it was that ambience of a sparring session. But then other people like, I need the energy of the
Yep.
crowd.
Right.
The one thing that I think, and I wouldn't even say that I still heard him all the time, but I could hear him more of the time than I
Oh,
would.
we could.
Really? Is that why we came here?
Get it together, Jess. What are you doing right now?
I swear to God, I was
Not
sitting there.
today.
I was in my head just laughing. I was like, oh, just drop an N-bomb. How funny would that be?
And the thing is,
No way.
I don't even think at first that he probably realized that everyone could hear him so clearly because he's just coaching the way that he would normally coach, where
yeah.
no one, like a fighter can't even hear you. There's so much going on.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't even, like then people were messaging us after,
Yeah.
just dying at his commentary.
I didn't realize they could hear me that clear either, but I'm glad they did.
Yeah, man, it was hysterical though.
Yeah.
You know what? The funniest thing, and I swear to God, I wish like I didn't record again. We just talked about how dumb I am with technology, but at the end of the first fight when you won, you did this thing where you ran back and forth. You didn't know where you're supposed to go.
I couldn't find out how to get out of the ring.
like,
I
wait.
was so emotional. There was so much.
And all I could think about, I don't know if you ever heard Benny Hill music.
No.
Like, oh, you gotta Google it. There's people that are listening to this right now going, I get it, and it's like. And it's just you going back and forth. Like if I had recorded and editing skills, I would play that on a loop.
Oh my
should-
gosh.
we should
I
do
know
that.
exactly what you're talking about. I must have ran back and forth like 6 times. I was so happy that I won that fight and I literally didn't know how to get out. Like I don't know where to go. I'm just stuck here now.
Because but with the COVID too, it was like the setup. Because I saw like you, Kristian, walking you to the thing. Like I can't go in. Bye. And it was almost like dropping your kid off at school.
Okay.
I was like, bye.
When we did the stories on Instagram.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And it was like, so you had, what did you have to do by yourself at that aspect of it? Like from that part?
In the morning when it dropped you off for
Oh, okay,
weigh-ins.
okay.
For the
So for
weigh-ins?
weigh-ins, yeah. So normally for if we were to do like a show fight around here, normally weigh-ins would be 2 hours before the fight. So we'd go together, we'd weigh in, we just hang out and wait for the fight. So for this tournament, you'd weigh in every day early in the morning at like 6 o'clock in the morning. So we'd get up at 5, and because of COVID, no one was allowed in with you. So it was kind of a process. It was actually a little bit weird how the weigh-ins worked. you had to do your COVID tests. You had to get on a trial scale, which is a little different because with this tournament, once you step on the scale, like if you were 0.1 over, you don't get to like go run and lose that 0.1 pounds and come
That's
back and
it.
weigh in. Once you get on the scale, that's your weight. If you're a little bit over, you're out. So you got to get up early, go on your trial scale, do your COVID test, then go weigh in. So it was actually like that was
Did
the part.
you have to test every day?
No, I tested the first day before my fight. The first day that I fought, I had my COVID test.
Okay.
That was it. But that's where it got kind of like mentally taxing because we had quarterfinals and I was the last fight on that card. So we got home from that fight probably like 10:30 at night.
Yep.
And then after you fight, like win or lose, your adrenaline is so high. It's like you're so pumped up, and it's not like you can go home and eat because you have to wake up
Right.
and weigh in. So I'm just laying there in bed. And I'm like, my adrenaline was just, I was so happy about winning. I'm like, I'm going to semifinals. I could not sleep. And then it's before you know it, your alarm's going off I would have to wake up at 4:30 to check my weight on my scale. Then I'd set my alarm for 5. We'd get up and go. I actually was so out of it. You had to bring like these credentials in order to get in. You had to have your ID tag to get in. So poor Kristian, I have him leave the hotel. We drive there. I'm like
halfway there.
I'm like
10 minutes deep. We're 2 minutes 2 minutes away from the convention center.
and it's so strict. You can't be late there. It's like
I
you
was
have to
gonna
be
ask
there
you.
at this time.
Yeah.
So, and I have anxiety about being late to begin with. So we get there and I'm like, I don't have my credentials.
That's
so
it.
I'm like,
I'm out of the tournament. It's over.
freaking out, you know.
God, can you imagine coming home
Don't
like
worry
that?
about it. I'm
Right.
like, wow, 100. We'll get
Kristian's
there.
like, I got this.
I got this. Got there.
So that was the part where it got like mentally taxing. I'm like, I've never done that where I fought one night, woke up the next morning, got ready to just fight again. I was like, this is a lot.
Yeah,
you know?
but why? Like, how? It's 5 days.
Well, she fought Tuesday.
No, but from start to finish, the whole.
It's 2 weeks, but because
shit,
some of
okay.
the men's divisions are bigger, so they need that whole 2 weeks. But for the women's divisions, they're generally smaller. So mine, we
Tuesday
had to be
through
there for a
Saturday.
week. Yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 5 days.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked that is like, what's the purpose of like weighing in every day is a bit.
Well, you got to
much.
make sure
Yeah,
that
but what are you
everybody's
gonna
on an
do? No one's
even
putting
playing
on-
field. No, they're putting on
Sorry.
weight.
Yeah, but you're not going to put on a dangerous amount. Are you really? Do you think?
Yeah,
In that
and I
amount of
think it's
time?
more about the discipline, like making sure you're training hard and you're sticking in your weight class. It's just rules, you know. Just how it is.
Did you have to make weight going down?
I did. When we signed up for the tournament, which was about like 3 weeks out, we had been saying that we were going to do it. And then one day we were like, let's just sign up. Let's, commit to it. I think it was 3 weeks out and I was, 143 and I was weighing in around 130. So it was like 13 pounds in those 3 weeks,
Okay.
which honestly, it wasn't like a horrible weight cut. It wasn't. It's never a fun weight cut, but it wasn't a horrible weight cut.
Yeah, she was here. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you weren't out of shape though.
No,
Like,
I
I would
wasn't. We
see it
stayed
here.
training the whole time. And we never really took like a break from training. So I was kind of just like coasting, and then just picked it up. And we had been sparring anyway because Raquel, who I was talking about before, she knew she was fighting in nationals. So she was coming to spar. So I was getting good sparring anyway. So
In my mind, we were definitely going. So we just signed up a little late.
yeah.
But in my head, we were going. So keeping her sparring, working on different things, adding different tools to her toolbox over the whole pandemic. So she developed. She definitely improved over that whole time. So she was
Yeah.
totally ready to go. Maybe we could have been like a little bit more intense or sooner, but
Yeah.
I think it worked out.
It did work out. Yeah.
It worked out.
Yeah, but you also busted your ass too, though. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I would come to the morning class, so you're here at 5-ish in the morning,
Yeah.
and you're there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I come back, I take my son here at 4:30 for the kids class,
And
and
I'm
you're
here.
there.
Yeah.
And then if I felt good, I would come the class for myself, and you're
Still
fucking
here.
there.
Yeah.
And it's like,
One thing is she's a workhorse. She's dedicated. She listens. She's like she's like a dream fighter for a coach because she listens. No, you
Right.
are because she makes it fun for me to be a coach.
sure.
I have fighters that don't listen. I was like, all right, then why am I going to coach you?
And that's my thing too. Like I know people that like fighters that will kind of even just through their training camps just kind of like coast and not really work that hard. And I personally could never go into a fight or get into the ring. Like I mentally couldn't do it knowing that I didn't like train super hard for this.
Yeah.
I would have a mental breakdown. I have a mental breakdown knowing that I trained really hard. So I
Yeah.
couldn't do it being like, oh, I just kind of, got by. I have to know that I'm like ready to go in there.
Yeah, but I didn't know you had to lose that much weight because when I first asked you about your weight, it was like you were on a treadmill one day and you had
Yeah.
a sauna suit on, and I was like, "What do you have to lose?" You're like 4 pounds. Like,
Yeah.
you go take a shit and that falls out of you. It's like, you know what I mean?
I did it pretty quick. It was, I used to, when I 2 years ago, fought in like the Ring Masters tournament. I was fighting at 119, weighing in at 117.
Crazy.
So yeah, and I walk around at like right now I'm probably back to 140. I walk around at 140, 142. Gained a little extra weight during COVID, like everyone else.
I didn't.
All right, fine,
Make you
Mick.
feel bad about yourself.
Yeah, Mick's an animal though.
Yeah, well, it's because you're running 26 miles a day, but.
He does a marathon a week.
But anyways, I would just keep telling myself, I'm like, I cut from 140 to 117. I can't like complain about cutting to 132. I was like, it's it's nothing. So it really wasn't that bad.
The great thing about it though, she came in under, so she was able to eat
okay.
breakfast.
So nice.
She wasn't stressing out about weight because she was always losing weight in her sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
it worked out perfectly. Like she was always not dehydrated. She was hydrated.
Yep.
She was strong.
I felt good, yeah.
So when you got to Louisiana, what's their approach to COVID and stuff? Like, how did you deal with that?
Why don't you tell them what happened when we first got
Oh.
there?
All right, so get on the airplane. We're excited about this
Do you
trip.
want to say who you flew with, or you don't have to?
No, I don't. You know what? I did. We flew on JetBlue.
Okay.
Let me just add really quick. I am absolutely terrified of planes. So
The worst experience with her. It was like, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna survive. Don't worry. No, but
my life was over in
fucking
my
out.
head.
Closing her eyes. She was in. Anyway, she was a wreck.
Why are you a nervous flyer?
I always have been, like ever since I was a child, and then I like got over it for a little bit. I swear I got over it. Like I've flown to Africa, I've flown all over the place, and I was okay for a little bit. Then once I had my son, it just came right back. Like I don't know. I was like I don't know.
Fear of dying.
Yeah, the fear of
you're a
dying.
parent.
Yeah,
That's what it
exactly.
is.
I'm like, yeah.
I'm the opposite. I wish every time.
You're like, just
I
take
get on
me
a plane,
down.
I'm like, oh, this would be so good right now. I'm like, I'm insured right now. You know what I mean? It's like the kids are
They're
young enough
set.
to get a new dad. It's fine. It's like they're not that attached to me yet. Fuck it.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I would
god,
love
that's
it.
awful.
So sorry. Go ahead. So you get on JetBlue.
So we get on JetBlue. We're like excited about our trip, hyping her up, like, you're gonna do this. And we couldn't stop talking out of, I guess, nervousness through the flight. And this one stewardess, she just already, you could tell she just had a bad attitude on the plane. She's just walking around with a bad face. But I didn't even like pay attention to it. But every 10 minutes, she'd go, guys, you have to put your masks on. I'm like, they're on.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want me to do? Put it over my eyes? So
And we're in the last row of the plane with no one around.
So we would talk, and it would like go a little bit like right here. And we wouldn't realize it because we're just in conversation.
Yeah.
And then I would go, oh, sorry, miss. I was very polite. Picked it up. She came about 5 times. Finally, she's like, that's it. You're on the no-fly list. We're like, what? We looked at each other like, what is she talking? We didn't even take our masks
you and
off.
Osama.
Yeah. That's what I felt like. I'm like,
Christian looks at me. He's like, what's the no-fly list?
Like,
I'm like,
what
I
did we-
guess we can't get on a plane.
what did we do? What did we do? So we get off the plane, and we're happy. Like, yeah. There's like 5 TSA agents, 3 JetBlue managers. It was crazy.
Police officers.
Police officer. I'm looking at her like, oh, they're not for us. We kept going. What did I say? Are they for me?
Yeah,
I
like
said-
jokingly. We're like, oh, that's weird. What happened on that plane? I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's-
that's intense.
That must be for me. I did say that. So we're walking through, and one cop ends up following us and just like having a conversation with us, being fun. And he's like, oh, nice Crocs. I was like, oh, I can't wait to go running. He goes,
Okay.
with your Crocs? And I go, yeah, why not? Whatever.
And I actually asked him. I had my mask on, and I asked him. I'm like, oh, now that we're in Texas, can I take my mask off? And he was like, no, you have to leave it on until you get out of the airport, and then you can take it off because this is federal property. I'm like, okay, no problem.
Right. And then we walk, and then somebody pulls her to the side and says, hey, Capurso? She's like, yeah. Well, tell him.
I'm like, I'm in Texas. How do you know my name? Like, what? I don't know anyone in
Tell those
Texas.
paparazzi.
I'm literally like, I'm like, weird. Wow.
Just like it starts. All
Yeah,
right,
I'm
go
like,
on. This is
calm
my
down,
good
guys.
side.
Go ahead. You finish it.
So he's like, oh, Miss Capurso, and the guy's just like, you have to go stand over there. I'm like, okay. I'm like, what's happening? Wouldn't tell me. So then he goes up to Christian, and he's like, oh, are you with her? And Christian's
Oh my
like,
God.
yeah. He's like, you go stand over there too. So we're standing like off to the side, me and Christian,
Surrounded by 5, 6, 7 officers.
police officers.
I'm nervous at this moment. I'm like, what's going to happen? Oh my God, what did we do?
I'm like, what did I put in my bag that I'm not supposed to put in my bag?
That's
Like,
funny.
I couldn't even figure out. So we're standing there for like a good 5 minutes before anyone tells us what's going on. So finally the manager of JetBlue comes.
Dude, but Mick, he was sweating profusely, shaking like this. You guys were not compliant with the mask.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
dude, I don't know what you're talking about, but our mask was on the whole time. If it came down here and she told us to put it up, we were respectful and we put it back up. I'm like, this is uncalled for. I'm like, why are you guys surrounding us? I feel very uncomfortable right now. I felt like telling her, why are you shaking and why are you sweating?
I have a nervous laugh, so I'm like, you guys are joking, right? I'm like, no, this is not real. You guys are
she
joking.
couldn't believe it. I'm like, and I'm over here like, sorry, sir. I swear to God, I didn't do nothing. I'm over here like, you were so strong and all like courageous.
I'm like, no, you guys are not serious. Like, so anyways, the manager of JetBlue is like talking to us, and he's like, when you guys get home, you're gonna have a letter in the mail. And me and Kristian are like, okay, well, what's the letter? Like, what is it? A fine? Is it a warning? Won't tell us. He's like, when you get home, just answer the letter.
Just answer it.
Okay. Then he tells us, this is my favorite part. He goes, and you know what? Before you fly home on Sunday, you have to have a meeting with the manager of JetBlue. Oh, and I'm the manager. He goes, oh, that's me. So he's like, I'll decide if I'm going to let you guys on the plane back home or not.
Yeah. I'm like, are you kidding me? We're not going to go home? Like, what is up?
That's the longest way to say, hey, guys, I have the smallest dick ever.
Right?
This is another way of me saying my dick is tiny.
Oh,
Dude,
my gosh.
that was exactly how he acted.
And I'm into cuckolding, and every day a real man comes home and just fucks my wife.
He
in front
probably
of
was
me.
getting hard in this moment,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
He probably was. So, anyways, actually, when I came home, I had a letter in the mail, and it was like, we're just giving you a warning now. Did you get it or no?
I didn't get
You didn't
it.
look.
I didn't get one.
So I got this letter that I sent to the Kristian. I'm like, oh, well, we decided to just give you a warning, but we were going to charge you $14,900 for breaking a federal violation. And I'm like, $14,900?
Yeah.
Why that amount? That's the weirdest number they stopped at.
That's a lot.
Like,
That's
I'll
a
pay
A
it.
lot of money for me breathing out of my nose, honestly.
I'll be like, I'll pay it. Just tell me where you came up with that number.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want to know. Where did you come to? Like,
And who's getting this money?
yeah.
Who does this go to?
Where are we missing the 100? Is that a kickback?
It goes to Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That's where it goes.
Did you see that woman fucking?
Yeah, she bought 4 houses.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy.
Wait, what did I miss?
In an all-white neighborhood.
That's crazy.
One of the co-founders, I think she's a co-founder to Black Lives Matter. All that money that was raised from celebrities, she spent 1.4 million on this house in an all-white neighborhood.
That's what always happens with these things. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
man. It's
And
like,
3 other properties in 3 other white neighborhoods for like, $800,000 house, a $700,000. I saw it was on the cover of Post magazine.
yeah, man. Fucking Black Lives Matter.
I'm
That's
gonna
what
start
that is.
Puerto Ricans Lives Matter.com. You can donate. I'm gonna have my GoFundMe tomorrow.
Yeah, but what happened to you? Nothing happened to you guys.
What do you mean?
Nah, you guys are just you're like the Irish. Nobody cares about us.
Good, I'm glad.
Puerto Ricans and Irish, like, fuck, you're
Leave
the
us
same.
alone. Leave us
You're the
alone.
same. That's fine. You go to any airport, Puerto Rican and Irish over there, everyone else in that way.
That's funny.
But what's the state like 'cause compared it to like I was in South Carolina recently and they're so cool with the whole like you can go online and like at like a equivalent of a 7-Eleven and they have like, well, 2 of us will wear a mask and then the other person won't, but like we don't give a shit. You wear a mask if you want to, that's your business. And nobody, some businesses like say, hey, leave them on please, but the rest like they don't give a shit. It's not like it is here.
I don't think they
New
cared.
York.
Yeah, we would walk into restaurants without masks on.
And they wouldn't say anything. I was like, I never wore my mask, and nobody ever said nothing to me. One lady said something. She's like, could you just make believe the camera's behind me? And I was like, oh, yeah, I respect you, lady. She was a sweetheart.
What was interesting, too, is that, going back to the plane thing, so when we bought the tickets, I called and, like, chatted and checked a million times what the deal was with getting a COVID test to get on the plane. So because he already had COVID, he could
I
just...
don't know if we should,
should I not
disclose
say?
all this.
Okay.
No, we can disclose it. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry.
She said
I'm already on the
coughing.
no-fly list. So, so anyway, so because Kristian already had COVID, all he had to do was show proof that he had like recovered from COVID. Because Kristian had the flu. I haven't had the flu yet. So anyway, so
Forgive us.
it was saying that we needed to have proof that we were COVID tested within 72 hours of getting on the plane. So I went for my PCR test, and when I went for my PCR test, they were like, well, it takes 7 days to get back. I'm like, well, how do I show? And then he needed to be a PCR. So I'm like, well, how do I show a PCR test within 3 days if it takes 7 days to get back? I don't understand. Mm-hmm. So JetBlue has me order this test through them. It's called Vault Health. I pay $120 for it.
So you give JetBlue $120.
Yeah,
Those
get my test results back, and it's like, okay, you have to bring this to get on the plane. They never check it, so I'm like, I just paid $120 for nothing. So on the way back, I'm like, thinking, I'm like, oh, should I pay to get this test again, or like, is anyone even going to check it? Like,
This
what's
time
the,
it was $225.
$250. So they're like, oh,
$250.
you can get it at the airport. It's gonna be $250. And I'm like, I'm gonna pay $250 for this test after just paying $150 for this test, and they're not even gonna check it. So we kind of just were like, keeping our fingers crossed, and I didn't get the test, and they didn't even check it. So I'm like, all they're doing is they're charging everyone that gets on this plane $250 to get a test, and they're not even looking at it. Like,
Right.
what?
Or we were lucky because I heard that April 1st they stopped checking.
Oh, okay. Maybe
So
it was
maybe
that.
we got lucky.
Maybe we got lucky.
Or maybe we got lucky both. In either way, we got lucky.
Yeah, but like I flew with American when I just said I was down in I drove to South Carolina. In December, I was down in Florida. And I just got sick of everything. I needed a break. I flew down to Disney, played golf in the morning, went to the park, and flew back the next day. So less than 24
Wow,
hours I
that's
went
right.
to Disney. And they're
That's
like,
awesome.
yeah, they're like, you don't need the quarantine.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean? Because you're in a place less than 20. I was like, what are you
Yeah.
fucking talking about?
It doesn't make sense.
Like,
Nothing
what if I
makes
went to
sense.
strip clubs and had like strippers
Right.
spit in my mouth?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, oh, it's 24 hours, you
What-
can't
yeah.
catch it. Like, you
What if
fucking
you were down
assholes.
there volunteering in the COVID unit?
Yeah, you
like-
never know. Exactly, right?
No, you're good. It was only 24 hours.
But some of the rules, like, which I noticed, which was hysterical. I don't know if you picked up on. I'm assuming you did. So you're going in, you're fighting, and you're on top of each other. You're sweating, you're spitting, possibly bleeding on each other. But then when the fight was over, waiting for your decision, you had to put a mask on.
I was laughing at that.
I was like,
so
what is the fucking?
the thing is, you didn't have to. Some people were just choosing to, which
Oh,
fine.
okay,
But
because I
just
saw the ref at maybe while I was waiting to watch your fight. At some of the guys, he was like,
oh,
you
he
know,
was making that.
Yeah.
maybe the ref,
Oh.
maybe it
Yeah, a
depends
lot
on,
of it just depends. I
maybe it
guess
depend on the ref. Yeah.
they were more in on point. Some of
Yeah.
the referees on point,
On
like
point,
making
yeah.
you do it, and some of them forgot.
I was thinking the same thing though. I was like, I don't exactly what you just said. I'm like, you literally just your bodily fluids are all
Right.
over this person, and now you're wearing
Could
a
be
mask to get
bleeding
you-
into
yeah.
that person's eyes, and it's like
Right.
they're like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then to have I remember I think one of your fights were delayed, which must have in your mind taken an eternity, which probably took 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes. When the Ghostbuster got in, when he's Ghostbuster.
Oh yeah, yeah,
or
that
the,
kept
or the
happening.
landscaper.
I went to walk in the ring,
Yeah,
and then he
yeah.
got
They
had me
made
come
you
back
walk
out,
out.
and I'm like,
They forgot to get the landscaper guy in with that,
Yeah.
whatever that shit was.
groom the COVID that was in the ring from.
Yeah, but that was fucking ridiculous.
I know.
Yeah,
You know what I
it's
mean?
all-
I think
it's
a
all
lot of it is
ridiculous.
just to be able to say that they were doing everything they could. You know.
Yeah,
Compliant.
I think none of them believe it. Like, I just think they're like, just get off my back if we do.
Mm-hmm.
if we
Yeah,
do
I
all
mean, look,
this.
most people I spoke to out there, they're like, oh, we just got to do what we got to do. Believe it or not,
Yeah.
Yeah, but some places
protocols.
like Ireland right now it's embarrassing, right? Because in Ireland, if I want to go see my family now in Ireland, I'm greeted at the airport by the Irish Army, which are a joke. They're basically all the Irish Army do is they're in movies,
Oh.
right? So whenever
that
like
sounded really intimidating.
no,
actually,
when
with the
you
Irish
when you
Army.
have like in Braveheart and all the like thousands of people in kilts, that's literally the Irish Army.
Yeah.
Because I see people and I'm like, oh, there's Carl, I know him. Like, you know what I mean? And that's what they do. Like, they're extras in these epic movies.
That's funny.
So the army, because they're like they've got guns and shit, but they're like we're a neutral country, so like, we're part of NATO. So like we would go to like Africa during all that when all the civil war was breaking out. We'd just like, and we're not allowed to shoot anybody, but we still have guns going, hey, stop that,
Don't
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
put that down, leave him alone.
Yeah.
Right. So, but they would greet you if you came from the States, put you onto a bus, drive you to an airport. You have to drive you to a hotel, stay in the hotel for 15 days, and motherfucker, you're paying for it.
That's insane.
I'm like,
that's
why
we
would
wouldn't
you?
have even gone. We would just be like, well, we're not fighting this
Yeah,
shit. That's
I got a 2-week
ridiculous.
vacation. You're just staying
Yeah.
in a hotel. You're watching TV, and it's out of your pocket. It's
That's
embarrassing.
insane.
It's
really
Are the
embarrassing.
rates really bad over there or anything, or that's just what they're doing?
No,
Oh.
because like Ireland just like will believe what they're told.
Oh.
So like Ireland won't use their own. Like that was my problem, and I had I was on a really famous radio station back in Ireland. They called me up to get like all this perspective, and they assume all Irish people think the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like they get their news from American media instead of sending their own journalist over.
Wow.
Mhm.
Right? They'll go, okay, what's CNN saying? Oh, that's what must be happening.
That's
then.
Right.
crazy that American news has that much power, though. Not
Of
over just
course.
us. Over the
Or
whole
how
world.
lazy
That's-
Ireland is.
Yeah.
Could be that either, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, what's going on with, I got into this debate with on a podcast, an Irish podcast and a radio station about, Trump is, I was like, well, yeah, I mean, maybe he's an asshole, but his policies on blah, blah, blah are really good on, because I'm very pro-military and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So again, you kind of like your president based on what is important to you,
You, of
right? So
course.
like if you have a kid, then maybe education is more important to someone that doesn't. Like, if you don't have a kid, like,
you don't care. You're not even
fuck about
following it,
education.
yeah.
I want to see what they're like. If you're a single guy, you're like, all right, what's their policy on snowboarding?
Right,
Right? You go for what you're into, right?
Absolutely.
What do they say about strip clubs?
Right. So hey, you don't have to be single guy to enjoy those. But yeah, so so the Irish people would get their new, and when I would tell them like stuff that they don't want to hear, they just shut the interview off. I'm like, what are you doing it for? Like,
Yeah.
It's like censorship, even at.
That's cool.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, and I remember I did that joke, and I kind of talk about it on stage too, that when the Black Lives Matter movement happened, like when all the protests, and they're like, yeah, but over here in Ireland, we're marching too. And I was like, there's like 4 black people in Ireland. I was like, what are you chanting? Like, leave Jeff alone. Right? And I was like,
Is that true? Is there like a very low population?
very,
of that?
like, very, very low. I mean, now since I moved, there's obviously been an immigration,
course.
migration of
Right.
more. So, you know, it's very ignorant of me to say, like, there's only 4, but like,
Right.
I know what you mean.
no, but I'm based on my, like, dude, we don't have any. Like,
Yeah.
you don't, maybe
Yeah.
in Dublin City where the hospitals are, like, you might get some African doctor, like a really intelligent guy
Right.
come over who just happens to be from Africa.
Yeah.
Right, but no, like, there's no fucking black guy just like, oh, I moved to Ireland, I like the weather. Like, that's
Yeah.
not ever happening. Like,
Right.
it's the shittiest weather ever.
Right.
You know, so, but I remember saying that, what do you got 4 black people? What are you,
That's
what are you
crazy.
chanting? Like, you know, all that shit.
Yeah.
And they immediately ended the interview. It's like, all right, well, thank you so much. And
Really?
yeah.
Oh,
Was
my
it like a
God.
live thing or it was recorded?
It was live, but
Oh.
if you ever like do radio, which nobody does radio anymore, now it's all like podcasts and stuff. There's a 5-second delay.
Oh, so you can cut it before.
So, well, they have a dump button. So, like, if I say something that's like bad word or something, they just press the button and then they'll dump that for the last 5 seconds.
I see.
Right. I got
So,
you.
but what they'll do is they'll just cut the interview short
I see.
and go, "Why? Well, that was Mick Thomas. Thanks so much, Mick."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just yelling to Mike as I'm getting cut off.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it was. But when you were like training for, I remember you were training for something that got cancelled because of
Well,
COVID.
Well, there was 2 things. Originally, we were
this
training.
is like we're talking about months.
Yeah,
months
originally it was actually a year ago. We were training for ringmasters. I had just made weight. I think it was like a Thursday.
God.
I was supposed
The
to
day
fight that
before.
Saturday.
Yeah.
I just texted Kristian. I literally had just got out of the sauna. I was just got on weight, and I'm like, "You don't think this fight's gonna be canceled, right?" He's like, "No, you'll be good. It's in 2 days." 5 minutes later, he calls me. He's like, "Oh, your fight's canceled." I'm like,
Yeah.
So there was that, and then there was like another. Not that long ago, we thought I was gonna get to fight in Pennsylvania. I
Right.
got like matched up with this girl.
But that fight
That
never
didn't
came to
happen.
fruition. They never even threw the show.
So even with this, I didn't.
You
I
haven't
think the
fought.
And
reason
was
that
that Pennsylvania one an exhibition or
it was just an
Okay.
exhibition fight. But even with this, the reason I waited so last minute to sign up too was that back in December, that's when the 2020 nationals were supposed to happen, and there were so many people that signed up for nationals, paid all this money for their flights, their hotels, this and that, and then they just canceled it. So I was like, oh, I really don't want to spend all this money. And then they're
Yeah,
like,
of
oh,
course.
it was like a week beforehand that they canceled it. So
Right.
I'm like, oh, yeah,
It's a good thing we waited.
yeah.
You know, worked out. But tell them about the weigh-ins. You want to tell them about the weigh-ins?
Oh,
Or
the
no?
first day?
Yeah.
So
Not
the-
even, was it the
For-
first day or the second day?
How weird it was?
With it, yeah. Tell
Oh,
them.
for
yeah.
the nationals?
For
Yeah.
nationals.
Okay.
So this was the weirdest weigh-in experience of my life. Like normally when you weigh in, you walk up to the scale, whatever you're weighing in, you take everything else off right
Mhm.
there. You get on the scale, you step off the scale, you put everything right back on. So for this, and they changed it after the first day, so someone must have complained about this. I'm like, this is the most bizarre experience. So you go through all these things. You go to the trial scale, then you go in another room, you get your COVID test, then you go in another room, you sit there and wait, and then they call you into this final room. They give you a plastic bag, and they're like, whatever you're weighing in, you have to leave outside here in this bag, and you just sit in this chair and wait. So there's people that weigh in literally butt naked to make weight.
Sure.
So there's about 20 of us sitting on these cold like chairs, and there's all age groups. It's from youth to adult, and whatever you need to weigh in, and you're just sitting in that chair wearing that. And I'm sitting there, and like people were like making jokes at it because they have the chair set up in a U like this too. So you're literally just staring someone's naked body right in the eye, and you're like, where I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is the strangest way and experience of my life. I'm like, why can't we just take off our clothes when we get to the scale,
Right.
and then put them back on when we get off the scale? So that was the only day they did it like that. The next day, they let you wear your clothes until you got on the scale.
Right.
So and I was saying to
Somebody
him,
must have said something.
you had to have, because if I was like a coach of like a young girl, like an 8-year-old girl, and she's sitting there with women grown women, or same thing maybe for a guy, even like a young 8-year-old boy sitting there with a 30-year-old man. That's I'm like, this is very uncomfortable.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
we're fighting tomorrow.
Like, I'm like, who designed this? What is the benefit of this? I don't understand.
but-
and the doctor was a male. It's not like there's not males in the room with you. So
Right.
I'm like, this is very strange.
Yeah, I think they made a boo boo because normally that's a great USA Boxing is a great organization and they do things
Yes.
Sure.
really controlled and they're always respectful of everybody. I think it was a mishap.
Yeah.
Was it
because
COVID
they
related?
fixed it quickly.
With the maybe if you're bringing in COVID from the streets.
Maybe, but the thing was that before we went into this room, we all had to get our COVID test. So this was on the first day. So we were all COVID tested. It was a 15-minute test. They told you set your alarm on your phone, come back up in 15 minutes. So we all knew we were negative, and then we went to this room, and it was like, okay, put your clothes in a plastic bag, and I'm like, all right. And I actually ended up sitting I was literally in the seat right next to the girl that I was fighting that night. So I'm like, I'm literally just sitting here naked next to a girl that I'm about to,
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. That's a crazy experience.
Well, you know that saying when you're nervous, just picture me in your underwear.
Yeah.
No,
Done.
I don't have to. I've already seen it. I've already seen it.
Picture her butt naked.
Yeah, it's strange. Strange
Did you
experience,
did you get a chance to talk to any of the people you fought? Like
Oh yeah, Amy. Amy was very polite.
Amy was very polite. I didn't end up getting to fight Amy. She won my division. She was very nice. We just would speak at weigh-ins and everything. Every girl that I fought, and that's the thing with boxing, like, you're fighting them and you're across the ring and you're looking at them and you like, want to kill the person. And as soon as the bell rings, it's like you're hugging and you're like,
I
great
love
fight.
you.
I love you.
Oh my God,
respect.
you're so
Like, and even with Norma, we spoke to. I think her coach was her dad. I'm not
They were
positive.
great. The Norma,
super nice.
Norma Rangel, sweet girl. Her father was a great, nice guy.
And even my last fight, I was talking to her. But my last fight, she was ranked number 2. I was talking to her after. She was super cool.
What's her name again?
Nada Ibarra.
Nada. Shout out to Nada.
You're good with names, man. I'm horrible.
I always remember the people I fight, because you're thinking about it coming up to the fight. You're searching them, and you're like, it's just ingrained in my head.
That makes sense.
She was nervous.
I was nervous. My first fight, I was the most nervous. So
Yeah.
my first fight,
Asha.
my first fight was Asha. And
Asha Lake from North Carolina. Shout out to Asha. She's a
again,
sweetheart too.
absolute sweetheart. But she used to fight at, I think it was like 172, like a
Jesus
much bigger
Christ.
division. So, of course,
She was a lot shorter than you, if I remember.
no, my first fight, we were pretty much the same exact height, actually. So
Yeah.
this was the fight where I got the 2 standing 8 counts in the first round. And
Right.
So she used to fight at 172. Of course, once I found out who I was fighting, I go and look her up and everything, and I'm looking at this girl, and I'm like, how is this girl in my weight class? And there's these videos of her just dropping girls,
Knocking girls out, bro.
boxing
Crazy.
trees,
Yeah,
and
punching trees.
Well, that's for sure. Nobody
Oh,
wants
man.
to
Right.
punch a tree.
I don't know, man. She was having fun with that
The
tree.
thing is, yeah. And the
I'm like-
videos were when I didn't know this in my head at the time, but the videos were when she was still bigger than so in my head I'm picturing this like 6'5"
Giant.
Yeah.
woman with like 18-inch biceps, and I'm texting Kristian and I'm just like, shit. I'm like, what am I doing here?
And I'm like, you're gonna do it. And then back in my head, I'm like, I hope she.
And I
doesn't
could
get
tell,
it.
I could tell about that he was getting a little. He's like looking at this girl, like I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be interesting. But
I'm gonna have that towel ready.
you do what you didn't.
Hell no. I was like, you're gonna fight through this.
So
I was like, not today.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be Rocky in Rocky 4. I'm going to throw that towel as soon as...
So mentally, I was like I honestly was like a little bit scared, which you can't go into a fight scared.
You can't, yeah.
But I knew, and I had said to him and a couple other people before, I was thinking about when I used to cut so much weight to fight, and like I'd be good for like the first round, and I would just be dead after that. Like it takes so much out of you to cut a lot of weight like that and dehydrate yourself like that. So the first round, it went exactly how I knew it was going to go. She came out like swinging. I got those 2 standing 8 counts in the first round. And in amateur boxing, you can't get more than 3 standing 8 counts. They just end the fight. So I'm like, oh my God, like it's my first round of my first fight at nationals, and I'm going to be going back home.
I'm like, I was like this to Ronnie, my boy who came in the corner of me. I was like, Ronnie, we ain't going out like this. I was like, we just got here.
So Ronnie tells me after
Round 1.
It's so funny when Ronnie tells the story, because he was dying laughing. He's like, you had to see Kristian Jess. He's grabbing me. He's grabbing my arm. He's like, what is she doing there? What is she doing right now? And but the thing is, when I got the standing 8s, and even though I was getting hit pretty hard, like I was staying calm, which is honestly
That's remarkable, because that even like 1 standing 8 count for the average person would be like, I'm fine.
Yeah,
Especially for like a 3-round fight.
Yeah.
Right. If you were going like a 10, 12, then you're like, all right, I
Yeah.
can make that standing 8. I'll make that back. But
So the
get
two
it.
things that were getting me through is that I knew in my head that she was only going to have one good round, and I knew that I was actually outboxing her even in the first round. Like she was catching me with big shots, but I knew I was outboxing her. I'm like, if I just stop getting hit with these stupid shots, like I knew I could win the fight. So I went back to the corner, and I don't even remember what you said.
No, I was like, you got this. I'm like, you are outboxing her, but you got to stay off the ropes. I'm like, this is an easy fight. I was like, I promise you, look, if you just work behind the jab and stay off the ropes, keep the fight in the middle, it's yours. I promise you. Like, I was convicted because I knew she could win.
And I felt that at that point, too. I was like, no, I can win this.
Yeah.
I didn't go back in there being, like, super nervous anymore. I was like, I can handle it. I'm not getting hurt by her punches. She's not going to hurt me.
And I was like, remember what you came here for. Like, we came here to win this whole thing. We got to go out there and you got to fight. Let's take this.
The weird thing was when I watched the first fight and you got the 2 standing 8 counts and you definitely outboxed her, but like you just know how it goes with judges.
Right.
And some judge just like I look at people as humans rather than just a judge, right? So what time of night was your fight?
I was the last fight of the
Right.
night. The first 2 fights,
So
I was the last
45?
fight.
So in my head, I'm like, all right,
They're not watching this
was
anymore.
that judge there all day long? He's hungry. His wife is texting like, fucking bitch, whatever. Like, he's got this shit going on. And all of a sudden he sees two standing 8 counts.
It's over already.
And he goes like, I'm not going to pay attention. Fuck, I'll go play solitaire or whatever.
Even the photographer, there's professional pictures of every fight that night. I'm the last fight. The photographer's like,
Right.
nah, fuck it. I'm going
I'm
home.
done.
No pictures.
So I got like, it's amazing how fast my head was working. I was like, shit, like because I don't like when it goes to judges because anything could happen.
Absolutely.
And in my head, like, you look great. You outboxed her, definitely. But the last fight, I was like, there's no way you did not. Like, I was so confident in every round that you was like, wait, what? Like, that was, when you won your first one, your hand went up, I was like, oh, fuck, great. Like,
Yeah,
it
was a relief.
And a part of me was even like, because again, like I said, I have no faith in judges and shit like that.
Right.
I was like, oh my God, I was kind of not really shocked, but like, okay, good. There was
Yeah.
a chance could have
We
went
got
the other
through
way.
it, yeah.
But the third one, I was like, oh, go, no, we got this. Because I got my son, Finn, was there watching. He's
Yeah.
like, what's going on? She got it, dude. Look at she,
Yeah.
like, she threw
That's
like,
counterpunching, yeah. So the
you
weird
hit
part.
like 4 for 1. It was like,
That's
there's
how
no
we
way you
felt.
weren't.
And the weird part was that my second fight, which I thought that I won clearly, like I thought I won that fight pretty big. They almost stopped the fight. She got a standing 8, and that was a split decision, which fine, whatever. I still won. And then my last fight, which I felt the same way when we were going through the fight. I felt pretty
I'm like-
confident that I won.
And as
Yeah,
a
no.
coach, I'm like, normally if I feel like she's getting her butt kicked or she needs to work on things, I would tell her, but I'm like, keep doing what you're doing. You're outboxing her. You're controlling the ring. She looks confused. She's just trying to rush in. When you're landing a couple, you're countering, you're finishing the combos. So that's what you got to keep doing. I didn't feel like I wasn't threatened at all by this. So go ahead.
So yeah, so I mean, looking back, I've watched the fight at this point probably like 100 times, just trying to, and I think in amateur boxing, a lot of what they look for is like aggression and ring control, and she was pushing me back the whole time. But my style as a taller fighter is a lot of the times to fight off my back foot, to counter punch, and like you said, I felt like I was counter punching. I felt like she would land a shot, and then I would counter with 2 more shots, and I felt like I was every time we exchanged, I felt like I was finishing the exchange. I really felt confident too, like you said, that
It
I was
looked
winning.
like her jab was almost like a shove.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like she would lean in with the jab, and you would go back naturally because she was shorter than you, I think,
Yeah,
or else
she was.
or else she fought shorter, right? She got lower, and and I was like, but she still like she would push you, and if that counts as a hit, then that's fine. But you were giving up, bang, 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 3, 4. I was like, there's no way.
That's
Like
how we
that,
felt,
out of
too.
all your fights, I was like, well, that's definitely
We
in the
felt
bag.
the same
Yeah, I
type
felt
way.
the
And
same way.
the crazy part is not one judge gave me 1 round of that fight. Every
Yeah.
single judge gave her every single round.
'Cause
I'm like, not 1 round from 1 judge.
Because I was a little upset. I'm like, wait a minute. I have to talk to the head official. I want to know. I want to see the scorecards. I want to know what these judges are looking at because I want to. I just want to know. So he showed me the cards. They got the cards. I'm looking at them like not 1 round, not from 1 judge. I'm like, what were your guys looking at? I'm like, did you watch the fight? I'm like, because I'm never like this. Like I don't ever complain.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, but from sitting in the corner, from being a coach, and asking her exactly what I wanted to see, she did it. And you guys don't give her. I'm like, it blew my mind. So
And that's where the heartbreak comes in. Because it's like when you lose a fight and you know you lost that fight and you know you did everything you
Right.
can. And you're like, well, you know what? But like, I was ready to get my hand raised. And at the same time, I was like,
I'm like, we're going
even
to the finals.
when I was coming back to the corner, I wasn't that gassed out. I felt like I was kind of just like if I knew I was losing, I could have done a lot more. I could have, but in my head, I was like, just box safe, which I shouldn't have done. I'm like, what I'm doing is working. And I wish that I knew that how they were seeing it because I could have done so much more. And I know I could beat that girl, but
yeah. But
with all due respect to her,
but shout
but-
out to her.
Yeah.
She came, she fought, she threw
it
some
was a
big
great
shots.
fight,
You know, from a judge's perspective, they want to see aggression. She have the aggression, so I can see them giving it to her
Yeah,
on
me
the
too.
aggression. But as a boxing standpoint, from a boxing mind and movement and counterpunching, I gave it to Jess. But you know, respect to her, she
Absolutely.
did her thing.
Yep.
Yeah, but that makes you like stronger now, right? You come back with a totally
I
different mindset.
came back with such a different mindset. So when we got there, I it's crazy. This is my first national level competition. And even when I got there, I'm like, oh my God, do I really belong here? Like, am I out of place here? And like, he always gave me confidence that I belong there. But obviously internally, I'm like, can I really like box with these girls? Can I even, and coming back from there, even so that last fight, like I said, that girl was ranked number 2 in the country, and it was still a good fight. It's not like she beat the shit out of me or like, you know, so
Right.
I came back being like, you know what, I belong like boxing with these girls at this level. And that's like, that was awesome for me. Like, I can't wait to go back and fight them again. And hopefully we'll get a rematch.
Yeah,
That'd be nice. I gotta say that, and it's almost embarrassing it though. Like, I loved watching the women fight.
Yeah.
Right, I would never sit down like when boxing's on. I'll watch boxing no matter who it is. But I really enjoyed watching like the women fight. Do you think that's changed over the last like few years? That like the level has stepped up.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think it's the level, and I think it's also one of the reasons that people like watching women fight also is that for women, they like have to prove something. They have to make a name for themselves. Like, there's so little going on with women and like in UFC and with boxing that like it has to be a good fight, because otherwise people just don't even take you seriously, you know?
Right.
It's
So much more to prove.
yeah.
Well, in the UFC, women make a decent amount of money, and I think in that, which is, it's horrible to watch. That I think you and I spoke about it one time. Is that bare knuckle?
Yep, the bare knuckle boxing.
I think that the highest paid people in that are women.
Yep.
Believe it or not, I think it's that and porn.
I saw
Where
actually.
women get paid the most.
No, it's true, because you're seeing people make the transition even from UFC now. We were talking
Right.
about Paige Van Zandt, so she signed
That's
with
it,
bare.
yeah.
She signed with bare knuckle boxing, 4 fights for it was like over $1 million.
Yeah.
And it's you're not going to make, as a woman, you will never make that in boxing.
Right.
It just won't happen. So
But even I heard an interview. Is it Clarissa? Who's the
Clarissa Shields, yeah.
Yeah, I think her ratings were more than a lot of the men.
Yeah, she's definitely making noise.
Right, but she was like, listen, now we need to talk about this. If I'm bringing in more people, more people in the seats, like, we need to start talking more about the money for females.
Absolutely. And even I know it was something people were talking about. It was the when Jake Paul fought that basketball player, can't remember his name.
Nate Robinson.
Nate Robinson. So I get it, because that was all about the publicity. So I get it, brought in money. But there was people also saying, so Jake Paul and Nate Robinson, who aren't even actual boxers. I mean, Jake Paul has some skill, but he doesn't. In that one fight, they made
skill, buddy.
if they took the top 10 ranked professional female boxers and combined all their salaries for 1 year, each of those guys made more than all 10 females in an entire year combined in their boxing career. And these are women that are actually boxing and dedicating their life to boxing and have real good boxing skills, you know?
Right.
So it's like, I'm like, oh, that's so insulting, you know?
Yeah.
But there's so many, like, I mean, even from a local level, to watch just like how hard, like, you know, like the first time I saw you was like, fuck, this is impressive.
Thank
just
you.
Really impressive. Like,
Thank
there's
you.
nothing, there's no, I mean, you obviously know, and Kristian being the coach would know, like I saw no weaknesses. Just like everything was sharp.
Yeah.
You know, the work was there. It was just like, and then your friend,
Raquel?
Thomas.
Oh, Sarah Thomas, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Sarah.
I follow her online. I think I
Yeah.
saw her here one night. I just kind of sat in the
In
back.
here, yeah.
And Jesus Christ, man, you guys fucking just it's sharp. It's
Yeah.
precise. And if you get two people like that, like to fight each other, that's a great fight. And I don't understand
yeah.
why anybody wouldn't.
I just have to say this, though. The way she performs here in this gym,
Yes.
confident, sharp, strong, over there didn't translate, because I believe her nerves, being on that stage. But saying that and her achieving what she did over there says a lot, because if she was able to perform at her best, no, I don't think
agree.
anybody could have touched her.
Yeah, but I think that comes with experience too, though, right?
Yeah.
When you get
Absolutely, yeah.
used to being away from home, and that's why I think that's why I asked you earlier, is the crowd, like, would that relax you more than like that whole place, people going just cheering, going crazy? I mean, you might, you know what I mean? Like, so there's less nerves. I mean, it's funny that you thought about the camera,
Yeah.
which wouldn't really bother me because I can't see anybody.
You can't
but
see
if you have
anybody.
people screaming,
Honestly, I thought about it a lot less than it wasn't even like a thing to me, the crowd or anything. I was I have to say, and like he knows, I was so nervous during this. It's first of all, it's been when I was fighting before COVID, I was fighting like very often, like once every month, once every 2 months when I was fighting, and you kind of just get into the routine of it, and eventually your nerves kind of like settle down. But it's been over a year now, and I went over a year without fighting, and then first time getting back in the ring, I'm getting in the ring at a national level where I know it's like
Right.
all the best girls in the country, and my nerves were shot. So I was like between getting off the plane, then the next day fighting, then fighting, and then I lost my last fight. And I'm like, the nerves aren't even over because I got to get back on a plane.
Yeah.
I think that's a different energy though too, right? Like nerves just take
It
so
takes
much out
over.
of you.
I was saying
And
this. Go ahead.
I was telling her, like, just don't think about your nerves. Like, ignore your nerves. It's good to be nervous, but not overly nervous because you're gonna exhaust yourself. Just chill.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like, okay.
I'm
Okay.
pacing. I'm like,
So
no, I got it.
she's getting annoyed at me and stuff.
I'm like, leave me alone.
I'm like, and so then at this point, I'm like, I'm quiet, and she's pacing this way, and I'm pacing this way.
We're both just
Pacing.
pacing.
Oh,
We're
okay.
pacing this way, and I'm like, she's like, can
So
you
the
stop
other,
pacing?
actually, the other
I'm
part.
like, I'm pacing because you're pacing. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
And the girl I'm about to fight is standing there so calmly, just like,
And then
me and him were like back
and
and,
we're like,
forth.
why is she so calm?
I'm like, is she too calm? Is this crazy? So
Yeah, man.
It
you
was
could
nuts, man. It was
overanalyze
nuts.
it.
Oh wait, but how
So
about this?
speaking of nerves,
So you get your gloves put on at this table, and they have to tape the gloves before you leave the table so that you don't take them off. But she
Right.
has to. She no lie. She peed. I'm at all 3 fights 30 times before. Once we put the gloves on to the fight. Like we'd have to go back every 5 minutes. Oh, I got to take my gloves off. So I wait at the glove table. She go run, pee, come back. I'm like, wait, before I put these on, do you got to go again? Go now. She's like, wait, yeah, I might have to poop. I'll be right back. No, it was crazy.
so it's just first of all,
It was
in my
crazy.
defense-
Nervous shit.
In my defense, I have always been like this. But when you fight in New York or not in a tournament like this, they hand you your gloves, and then like you can warm up with them, you can take them
Take 'em
off,
off.
and you
Right,
can.
right.
So first of all, it would weigh in, and then like you're drinking a ton of water before your fight, and my nerves because I'm crazy. Like I get so nervous. Like my biggest fear is always I'm like, what if I'm in the ring and I have to shit? Or what if I'm in the ring and I'm gonna pee my pants?
I told her, don't worry, I'll put the
And
bucket
they're all
under
making
you.
fun of me now, and they're like him and Ronnie. They're like, listen, just pee your pants in the ring. Just no one's gonna know. Just
Yeah,
pee in
just
the ring.
pee.
That's had to have happened
Fuck
a
it.
bunch of times, man. I
But
know
he's
it
I'm
not
happens.
sure.
exaggerating. The poor lady that has to wrap and tape your gloves. I'm like,
They gave her own roll of tape. They wrote
gave her own
they wrote her
tape.
name on it. Like, up here you go.
And then my friend fought the next night, and I was done. I was out, and her coach was like, "You understand that they know you at the glove table, like on a first name basis, because
Yeah.
you couldn't." She was like, "You must have peed 16 times last night."
Yeah, it was crazy.
And again, the girl that I'm fighting. So this was when I was fighting Norma. She's sitting there,
Relax.
literally, we're
She's like
watching her eyes, watch me
yawning.
going back and forth in the bathroom, and she's probably in her head like, "Is this girl okay right now?"
Yeah.
Like,
I think that was for show. Some people put on a show like I'm so calm. I'm gonna.
Well,
pretend
no,
to be
actually,
nervous."
they're probably relaxed. She's been at this level before. She's
Right,
fought at a
right.
national level, so it's like I've been here before.
Yeah.
Just never been there, so it was definitely
Yeah.
nerve wracking. It was nerve wracking for me too because I believed in her so much, but I knew her nerves would like get into her. So I'm like, okay, this is the only thing in the way right now.
And that's the problem with your nerves too. So I was talking about this with Raquel because she said the same thing. She's so funny. So Raquel was the girl that I was sparring, getting ready for this. So
Shout out
Okay.
to Raquel though.
Yeah,
she
she's
won. She won.
awesome.
She's the national champion.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, 141.
141. Yeah.
141 national champ. Raquel Biggs, right?
Bins.
Raquel Bins.
So Raquel and I would spar every single Sunday. We would go 6 rounds, and it would be like obviously you'd be like gassed out and everything at the end of the 6 rounds, but it's like whatever, you get through it. We were both saying like your nerves when you're that nervous, like 2 rounds in, I literally felt like I was gonna pass out. I'm like, I can't breathe. And Raquel was telling me she went back to her corner after the 2nd round, saying to her coach, she's like, I think I have bronchitis, like freaking out that she had bronchitis because she could. And it's just your nerves. It changes everything, and that's the part that a lot of people don't fully get when you're watching boxing or anything. It's like obviously some people learn to settle their nerves. I'm not there
right.
yet, but hopefully soon.
No, in time you're gonna get there.
But it's
You will.
easy. It's easy for people to watch. Like
Right.
that's what, and I hear people, and they go like,
Criticize,
oh, I
yeah.
couldn't-" like even like we were in a group chat with everybody
Mm-hmm.
here at the gym, and it was kind of all nothing but great
course,
things.
yeah.
But then like some people were like, fucking, she shouldn't have wore red.
yeah, of
'Cause
course.
you were
Trust me,
blue.
but
Yeah,
trust
yeah.
me, I had like in my head superstition was.
Oh,
like,
I was gonna
fuck.
ask you.
I'm like, why are we in fucking red tonight?
Well, and
Like,
we had actually the last fight because I'm superstitious.
I was
about
gonna ask
things.
you that.
I'm not superstitious in life, but like I get so nervous about fighting that once something worked, it's like okay, we're doing this the same way.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
for
okay.
I
that,
fucked
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah,
Christian
yeah.
fucked up my whole vibe. You know, no, I'm
my
kidding.
bad.
So
No, I
we
did.
were wrapping up in my first 2 fights. He came to my hotel room. I had like this living room, and he would wrap up my hands in the living room. We'd just drive over to the place and like whatever. So we were getting ready in the hotel because you really weren't supposed to like be in the arena and everything with
Sure.
COVID. So the last day, he was like, let's just wrap up at the place. So I was in red.
Because I wanted her to rest more. I didn't want her
Yeah,
to
I know
be
what you
in this
mean.
element of excitement. You know what I mean? So I
Sure.
said, let's just rest here longer. Then we'll wrap when we go there, and then we'll be ready to fight in a couple fights.
So everything changed. I had different uniform, different shoes. I wrapped up at the arena.
Yeah.
I just threw everything off. Could have won that fight, you know.
my bad.
No, I'm
No, but
kidding.
it is easier to watch. It is easier to just
Absolutely.
pass, you know, to because like I said I don't know if we were rolling when we were talking about this, but like it's easy for us to watch it on a screen because I was watching on my phone or my iPad, and I was like, I'm way back here. The camera was way back.
Yeah.
Like we could even see you walk into the ring. That's how
Yeah.
wide the angle
That
was.
was cool.
And it's very easy to watch a fight from back then, right? But when you are looking, you have to explain to some people in the chat, like, yeah, but if that person is 2 feet in front of you,
They can see, yeah.
that's a different angle. You don't even
It's a
see
completely
certain
different
things.
angle. And it's also in a lot of things that people just don't get. It's completely different when you're getting punched in the face. You know, it's completely different. You know, especially my first round of that first fight, she was throwing hard. That girl was throwing hard. Like, so, you know, the fight looked sloppy and everything, but I'm like, oh my God, my brain's getting rattled right now. Like, you know, give me some credit.
So leading up to this is what I want people to understand, because like, and it speaks to kind of to like Strong Island boxing, but obviously to you,
The best.
what is your routine of leading? I mean, some people don't want to give up their training routine, what it is, but if you want to, you can tell us. If you don't, you don't have to. But what is your training routine leading up to it? Like let's say Monday to a Sunday, Monday through Sunday. 'Cause some people are like, do you take a day off? Because we were chatting offline, which I loved. Like I think the day after, and you sent a picture just like a lap full of Pringles and chocolate. I'm like,
oh my God. And I got to stop at that.
Yeah.
So,
She tore it
the
up.
leading up to the, I'm still tearing it up, honestly.
good for you.
Yeah. So I usually do my running in the morning. Obviously, you've seen me here. I
Yeah.
just get that out of the way. Running's super important for boxing. And then I come here at night, and he runs the routine at night, so you can go over
Yeah, no.
there.
So Tuesdays and Thursdays, we spar, we get the rounds in, and sometimes on Sundays. For this camp, we did Sunday, like I think every weekend for like 6 weeks before. But you know, we do mitt work. She does her bag work. She shadow boxes, and while she does these things, I'm always like, don't forget to do this. You know, or we always increase the difficulty with the shadow boxing as well. Increase the difficulty with the bag work. We do strength and conditioning, battle rope. We do just a lot of stuff, man. So just during the week, it's just boxing oriented. Every night is skill training, but we also incorporate the strength and conditioning, our bag work, and Tuesdays, Thursdays sparring, and Sundays we spar. Somebody comes to the gym from like another gym, and we spar them.
Right.
And I'm always in the gym. We always do this stuff. It's just when you know you have a fight coming up, it's kind of just like you turn up the intensity so much. You know,
Yeah.
like I'm always here shadow boxing. I'm always here, you know, hitting the bag and everything. But it's like when you know you have a fight coming up, like every single second of it is intense.
Yeah.
So
A more push.
yeah.
You know, we're refining different movement. All right, what's going to be important for this tournament? Like, what do we have to do to enable the victory? So with me, it's always about, I know spacing is important when you're competing because the judges want to see clean punches. So when you smother yourself and you're not throwing clean punches, they don't see them. So I just, you know, we worked on making sure she had good spacing, her good, you know, kickback, and then, you know, working behind the jab. You know, I always want her, she doesn't move her head a lot. So we really tried working on getting off center line, just keeping the head moving. She did better, you know, but we still got to improve there. But
I also have to say too, I mean, and I think this speaks for just how Strong Island is in general. Like the support system is just so like unmatched. Like Kristian, there was one night leading up to the fight, like I didn't have anyone to spar and I needed sparring. So Kristian got in there and sparred with me. And I'm like, you know what, how many people's coach are like, oh, you need sparring, I'll get in the ring and spar with you, you know?
Yeah,
so it was cool.
And I felt good. I'm sorry, Mick, but I felt good about that because when I sparred her, she was catching me with like 6 pieces when I was like trying to come in on the side of my head, and I felt her little knuckles on my brain. I'm like, okay. I was like, all right, she's ready. I was like, because I didn't want to get hit no more. I was like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, but it does though speak about there's something about, and again, I don't know if we were rolling when we talked about this, but there's something about this place, right? That's been created, like Strong Island Boxing. It for me, it's like it almost. Like I go through this, and I haven't had it in a long time since I started coming here. So I don't know if it's a coincidence, but like I go through like with crippling depression, but I don't talk about it. I don't, you know, I deal with it my own way.
Me too.
But it's been less and less, man, since I've been here, and it's
Yeah.
like, but just like here's what I think. And I was talking to Rob when I'm sitting here with my son. Like Rob is the dad of another. You know, we sit there and we're just like, especially with you watching them train kids. And it's like you don't put up with any bullshit from kids, but also it's not in a mean way.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, it's none of this, like, we're going to do
What
super.
they need, yeah.
Right. I remember I took my daughter years ago to like Kung Fu, whatever.
Right.
And the coach was just like, I'm just going to phone it in. They're kids. What do they know? You know what I
Right.
mean? And I was like, all right, now we're going to do Captain America punches. I'm like, no,
Oh.
fucking teach them
How
what
to
to
do
do.
Real
You know what I
shit.
mean?
Yeah.
And if they're falling asleep when they're supposed to be doing push-ups, then, you know, like, I've watched
Push 'em.
you push kids to the point where they come back,
Yeah.
right? Because if you were pushing them wrong,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
right? What would happen? I don't want to go there anymore. I
Yeah.
don't like the guy yelled at me. But I'm watching like, shit, good for him. He's saying the right thing. And then in
Yeah.
my head, I was like, that kid won't be back. Because
Yeah.
Yeah, and they come back.
they turn
I
up.
think it's-
Yeah,
They
me too.
turn
No,
up.
it's funny too because I'll see who comes in and I'm like, oh, he came back. Oh,
Yeah.
she came back. Oh, he came back. I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, all right, we
did it. We did it.
No, but it's done respectfully. It's done fair, and it's done honest.
Yeah.
And it goes like for all your coaches here, and all the people that attend. Like everybody just immediately gets together. Everybody just like. I told you, like, out of nowhere, I was like, I'm going to run 100 miles. And you're like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, well, first of all, you said you're going to do it with
I
me.
know.
I was like, I don't know. I don't
I
know.
never
about
made that
that.
commitment.
But what you did do is, right, so you knew that you probably wouldn't, and that comes down, listen, I don't doubt for a second you could do it if you had the time to train, but you, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, it's what my mother said to me, like, when I go to eat something, like, your eyes are bigger than your belly.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, yeah, I could eat all this.
Yeah.
So I think you're like that too.
Yeah.
Like, you see all, but like, all right. Let's
Nah,
be honest.
I had
Bring it
to,
back here,
I had
yeah.
to reassess that.
Yeah. Let's be honest. So
I'm
it's
like,
not,
wait, I don't want to break my.
it's not out of laziness though, but it's out of
No.
like, how do I, like, what do you have to put on hold for you to train for a fucking 100-mile run?
Right. I would have to put a lot on hold.
No, but what you did do then, it was like, you're like, all right, well then, if I can't do it, but let's get behind it. Let's go. So then all of a sudden,
Absolutely.
all these people jump in, like, we'll pace with you, we'll help you, meet you there.
Yeah.
But this whole place, like I said, it's
Magical.
it fucking is. Like, but it train, like, you get people at all levels
Yeah.
with no intimidation. And that's unheard of.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? To come in and you could tell somebody, like, if you told somebody, like, I want to train you like a pro fighter.
Yeah.
That's like, oh shit, I
Scary.
want to go to like a boxer, jazzer
Yeah.
size class
Yeah.
where, you know,
Right.
they play Pitbull in the background and I dance for 20 minutes and I,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
break a bit of sweat on a yoga mat.
Yeah.
And, you know, but like to say that I'm going to train you like a pro, which you guys do.
Right.
Here you push people like a pro and there's no intimidation.
Right.
And it's just fun, man. And this place is fucking great, man.
I love
Strong
it.
in the
It's
box.
Thank you,
crazy.
man.
Yeah, the support system, and like just to go back to nationals for a second. Obviously, I already knew how the support system was here, but
Yeah.
I would step out of the ring, and the first thing I would do is like pick up my phone to call my son after
Sure.
the fight. And literally, my phone, it would just be like, bzz, bzz, bzz,
It was
bzz,
great.
bzz, and it was just everyone from the gym, like so positive, and so and
okay.
it was like so cool to know that there was that much support from back home, and like I can't even explain it. Like the feeling, it pushes you when you're like so tired and you're like, oh my god, I have to wake up and fight again tomorrow.
Right.
Like I just fought, and you know, like all these people are like so hyped for you, and so
Yeah.
like it's such a good support system here.
But
It's
even-
unmatched.
Even in
Yeah.
the group chat that you weren't even in, it's not like
Yeah, I'm not
people are
even
in there
in.
like, you know, we don't have to say this, she's not listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, but just nothing but like from like at the first fight when I thought I was like, fuck, 2 standing 8 counts,
Yeah.
that's not good.
Right.
Like everybody was like, nobody was like negative
Right.
about
Right.
that. No one was like, oh no, like I was, yeah, come on, Jess, you got this.
Yeah,
You know, it's-
and I was thinking that, and I think we said that at one point. I was like, there are so many people like giving, like, and I believe in like energy and all that stuff,
Sure.
like sending like
Hell yeah.
positive energies and positive vibes to me right now. Like, I couldn't even believe it. It was so surreal, like knowing
Yeah.
that this many people were supporting us and
Well,
supporting
you're
us
great.
out there.
You know, you're great.
But that's just the dynamic that's been created at this gym too. It really is, you know, because there's people coming from boxing gyms. Every single person there is coming from a boxing gym, and I literally think we had like more people watching than any gym there, honestly.
Right.
we had a lot
Right.
of support.
Yeah.
And then even like your for your party on Saturday,
Oh my god, that was amazing.
You know
I
what
was
I mean?
like shaking.
I
Like,
was so bummed because I had 2 shows in the city, and I remember I was on the LA driving out, and I was looking at the stories. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, I missed that. And then the fight would start. Joe Smith's fight would
Yeah.
start. I was like, I'm still going to make it. And then it was like, for some reason, we were all saying like that probably fight won't start till 12.
Right.
So by the time I was half in the LA, the fight's over. I'm like, I'm not. What's the point?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
I was like,
exactly.
fuck.
We
It's a
actually
long day.
hung out till 2 in the
So I
morning.
hear that.
We
I
were
hear
like,
that too.
Like high school kids in the parking lot drinking.
No, were you really?
Yeah, it was great. It was such a good time. My dad's trying to fight everybody.
I saw it.
It was,
videos
it was
of that.
amazing.
Yeah,
We had a great time. It was so cool.
Yeah, but man, I just think what's created here is like you got to come down, like you got to come down to see it. It's
Absolutely.
not something you could just say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't think I would get up anywhere else at 4 a.m. to come
Yeah.
any place else.
Yeah, great. I get a shout out to Dakota. You're doing a great job with
Yeah.
the
Oh my
5:30.
God, those
Yeah.
like those. I come up at 4 a.m. for his classes, man,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
fucking the
And
best.
he keeps you coming back.
Yeah.
He's funny. It's like he pushes you,
Yes.
yells at you, like it's a good vibe, and not only that, it's like it's all technique too, and it's
everyone looks sharp. It's like you look like you're boxing. It's not like when you go to some of these boxing gyms and you're like, what is this person doing?
And that's my method here. Is like my method is like I want everybody to come in here and look like a pro. You don't have to fight. I don't care if you fight ever, but I want you to walk out of here. And if you ever go to another gym and you're hitting a bag, I want somebody to say like, oh wow, you box?
Yeah.
Not they do kickboxing or something.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Oh, and where do you box? Strong Island? Because it's important that when you go somewhere, you spend time, that you spend it wisely, and you get that lesson, you get that science, and that's what we convey, you know. And all the trainers here, we all are on the same page, and I'm grateful for everybody. I just want to give a shout out, Jess. You're amazing with the classes.
Thank you.
Dakota's doing an amazing job in the morning. Everybody loves it. Brian just jumped on board. He's awesome. And Coach Sean, I have to give him props. He's been with me since day one, and I love him. He's a great help, and I hope I'm not missing anybody, but.
And the weird thing too about all the coaches here is like everybody's got their own unique like way of doing it. And we were talking about that earlier. Like the night you were fighting, I don't know if you knew this. I sat out here trying to get Tanya to get the fight on the screen for everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, she was asking me, and I'm the worst
with technology.
How do
I remember her FaceTiming him, and we're just like,
I don't know why you're asking me. So the class was going on with the kids, and you could just like. The kids would say stuff to Coach Sean that they wouldn't say. Like, can we change the music?
Yeah, they would never say to him.
No.
Yeah. But even for the kids, it's such an amazing community to get your kids involved in at this age. Like,
oh my God.
I want my son to stick with it so bad, just for the community. Even if he hates boxing, just for the community. Like the community that I have here is almost means as much to me of the sport of boxing, if not more. You know, like I love both aspects of it, and I want my son to have that, and it's such a great thing for kids.
Yeah, I wouldn't go anywhere else. And like even with the morning classes to Dakota, like I don't give a shit if he's listened to this or not. But like I know every morning, every class with him is different.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I was up at night, and I was like, so you, like I don't care if he's going online and stealing other people's workouts, but
doesn't matter.
Every day is different, and he is literally. Like he's not winging it.
He's putting effort in.
You know, and if he is winging it, he's fucking the best at it.
No, he puts the effort in.
He does. Like he designs like almost every class. Like, all right, this day is gonna be this, and he like puts a weird name to the day. It's like Torture Thursday. It's like, you know what I mean? That's every day. That's and I take Wednesday off just because the way I train now. It's like
you need a rest.
I'm like running fucking marathons in the middle of the week, so it's like I gotta give like my legs a rest, and like I kind of even feel bad. Like I wake up Wednesday morning to go to the bathroom. Like, oh fuck, I could be there right now.
And you see everyone else on the stories, and you're like,
you know. But I pick Wednesday off because I got Wednesday night. I've always got a show Wednesday night. I want to have a whole day of just rest, so I'm not like getting up at 4 and then I don't leave my show till 10 o'clock. That's a long time of going without rest. But I take that day off, and it's like, fuck, I don't want to take a day off.
Right, I know what you mean.
You know?
Yeah,
but
you're a workhorse. You're a workhorse. Though,
yeah, I try, man. And I met like some cool people here, like Emily, which you introduced me to.
She's a workhorse too.
Yeah.
Look, I was telling, we were outside, myself and Jess were talking. On Sunday, I was like, I'm just going to run 10. Yeah. Because the day before I had to drive to Jersey, I took my daughter to Jersey. All I ate was Burger King for lunch because there's nothing to do around there, right? And then when I came home, I ate, I think, a piece of steak real quick. And then I drove to the city. I did 2 shows in the city. And that was Saturday night. And I was like, I'm going to run 10 miles. I'm not carved up. I didn't eat like I would for a long run. And then I'm about to wrap up. Yeah. And I look at my phone, and Emily texts me her run, which was like the 26.3, and I go, fuck. And then I had to go and I had to finish the whole.
You did it. I'll give you credit.
I finished the whole thing. So yeah, we're doing, but like, you don't meet those people anywhere.
No.
I met her here.
Yeah. I was so excited. She came down Sarah Thomas and I, we did a women's workshop.
Not related, by the way.
Oh my God, I didn't even put together that we have the same last name. I'm like, what do you mean you're not related? I'm like, I didn't think you were. No, that's funny. So Emily, actually, I graduated with her sister in high school. So I had known her. I never knew her personally, but I had always known her growing up. So she came down, and even from that first day of the workshop, me and Sarah were like, this girl could be really good. You know, she just naturally had that. And she's just such a cool person, and she puts the work in. She's doing all this stuff with you.
Right.
She just has the right mindset. So
yeah, she's going to be good.
Yeah.
I look forward to
and she's
helping her as well.
She's a fantastic tattoo. What's like?
Incredible
oh my God,
tattoo artist, like just outstanding. Like
I know, just an artist in general. Sometimes I look at her stuff and I'm like, how is that even possible? That a human
that's
being,
a photograph.
Like she does like pencil, like it's crazy.
My patience lasts about like 2 minutes, so to be able to sit there and like it has to take you like 15 hours to just sit there so meticulously and just
maybe the first time I ran with her, I was like, we're gonna do 20 miles. She was like, okay. And I was like, listen, you put your headphones on, I'll put my headphones on. We don't have to talk because it's hard to run 20 miles and talk.
Yeah.
I'd be like, stop talking to me. Leave me alone.
We did like over like 3 hours of running. We just talked
The whole
way.
time.
We got
That's
to know each other so much.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
And it's just, dude, we made each other laugh. She's
Yeah.
just like, we told
Good
each other
people.
like our life story
That's
almost.
cool.
And it was like, she's a cool. But again,
Love
like
it.
you meet her here, right? And now
Yeah.
she's doing the 100-mile with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then everybody here is jumping in for even 10 and 5. Like we want to make this thing, like firsts,
Yeah.
right? The first. So like Corey never ran Corey's another student here. Never ran 2 miles before. He's like, well, then make that be your first, or do
Yeah.
5,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Someone's like, I never ran a marathon. Well, this is your first marathon. This is your first half. Like, make it about your first.
Yeah.
It's not just about me and Emily reaching 100 miles.
Yeah.
And
it's
it
like,
just comes back to that team camaraderie because people will do that to support you guys. To
Yeah,
be like, I want to be a
absolutely.
part of this
Yeah,
because
yeah.
this is a team thing now and we're all going to support each
Right.
other. So that's going to be awesome.
by the time we get to Montauk, we'll all just start, slamming back drinks and
Oh,
pizzas
Absolutely,
and stuff.
yeah.
And then,
No, we can't. We're gonna run back drunk.
yeah, why not? That's how we do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my. I never ran more than like 10 miles. I'm not a distance runner. I've always been just like 5, 10 tops.
Yeah, well, boxers in general, and that's why when I talk out here
Mhm.
to some of the fighters, like the numbers I talk about, they seem like they're unachievable. I say, yeah, because you fucking run like this,
Yeah.
right? Like fighters do run. Like,
Intense.
We're always trying to beat our time because
you can't
you
do
gotta,
100 miles like fucking
Racing
like,
the clock. Yeah.
like the Terminator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't do that. It's not. But when you like learn how to slow down and run, like I learned by accident. I
Yeah.
learned by accident. I didn't study it. I wasn't a runner. I was none of that shit. I was a regular gym guy, and I just learned how to run by accident.
Yeah.
So it's like once these guys figure that out, they're like, all right, yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna do the day we do that. What is the date? on
June
that?
12th,
So June 12th is the 100
Saturday. Yeah.
first annual because it's gonna be an annual thing.
Fuck you.
So I got to commit to that.
Now it is.
Yep. Mick Thomas brought to you by Mick Thomas and Strong Island Boxing, the 100-miler, and I'm gonna do my first half marathon that day.
Nice.
Yep.
You
so
can do it.
I'll do
Yeah.
13. Wait, it's 13 point
Point
something.
yeah.
Yeah, 13 point something. But
Yeah.
I guarantee you'll do. Here's the thing.
I
I
got this.
bet you'll do 20.
I'm getting peer
I-
pressured
I
right
might.
now.
Come
Yeah, you
on.
got to do
Yeah,
at
I
least.
gotta-
You
yeah.
come on. What did you do for that charity thing?
I did 16.
16. That's
Oh,
big,
you're good
too.
for your first marathon at least.
I
Yeah.
guess, my
Because-
legs, I couldn't, man, I probably don't run the right way. Like you were saying, I mean, I think I did 16 at like an 8:20 pace. I couldn't walk for like 3 days. And like my knees, my hips, like
Yeah, but I think me and
Something's
Emily,
not
I
right.
think me and Emily will set the pace for the first,
Yeah, pace it.
30 miles at least.
Yeah.
And then that's where we'll need other people. Like when you
Pace it,
see how
yeah.
slow we'll be going, like, oh, I can do this
I
shit.
could do this. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you're like, all right, well maybe. Or I was telling like some people, like, then fucking go home, get something to eat, shower, rest,
Yeah.
come back. We're gonna be going through
You're
the
still
night. This
going.
is
Yeah.
not-
Yeah.
I'm gonna document it too. I'm gonna have my
Yeah.
car.
Yeah, that'd
I'm gonna
be
get my
fun.
drone. Follow you guys. I'm gonna do some. We're gonna do some.
You
cool
know what
stuff.
Dakota said to me the other day, actually, because we're going to be running from here outside the gym, Montauk Highway to the lighthouse and back in, and we end at the Indian reservation.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You know those big like neon signs out there?
Wait, which one?
That's the
over
finish
there?
line.
That's the finish
On the
line.
bit of sunrise, because I clocked it. I got to do one more trip though, because I didn't clock it from here.
So
I
maybe
estimated.
maybe we should stop at my buddy's lobster shop on
Okay.
Montauk Highway in the reservation right on Montauk Highway.
Okay.
We can stop there. We can have food, everything ready right there.
But the thing that Dakota said, which is a good point, I don't know. He's like, if you run sunrise, he's like, is that legal? Like, what if the cops pull you over?
Yeah. I
Is
think
it not legal? No,
I
you
don't
have
know,
to be able
though.
I'll
to.
find out.
We'll just say all our cars broke down.
Yeah.
We're running.
Oh my gosh! Imagine you guys are getting arrested for running
that'd
100
be-
miles.
Yeah, that'd be badass, wouldn't it?
So it would happen.
I
We
still-
got connections. I got connections. Make some phone calls.
I still have to figure out a charity to raise money for. Though.
Yeah,
That's
definitely. We got to put
another
that
thing.
together. So
I think why don't we put the GoFundMe together.
Mhm.
Whatever we raise, we could probably do a couple of charities.
I like that.
You
because
know?
I was kind of like every charity I've done like work for is like St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Like everything I do is for them.
you
like,
should talk to Emily. But have you spoken to Emily about that too? Because I know she does stuff with charities. And
No,
everything
no,
like
I don't know if we talked about doing something collective. Like she might do something on her
Oh,
own.
on her
like, but
own, and you
I
might-
mean, we haven't spoken
That's
about it.
true,
So,
yeah.
but I was like St. Jude's. I'm like, fuck, they never even sent me a T-shirt. Like I don't know.
Uh,
I know, and you gotta do something that's a little like everyone does St. Jude's, not to take away
Right,
from it,
right.
but
Yeah.
we'll find
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
that
The only thing I'm not doing is pets. I'm sorry.
that's fine.
Animals have a fucking. They have it easy.
They have a
They got-
lifespan.
yeah.
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 You got 8 years on the planet. You're fine.
Yeah, they're
No, that's so
fine.
messed up.
No, it's not. It's fine. Like, this is my Yorkie is Izzy. Fucking who gives a shit? Like, it's-
Replacement for your Yorkie.
my best friend is no, it's not. Stop it. Like, This is what you don't understand. If you have a dog in your house
I do.
and you drop dead
You're
in your
hurting
house,
his feelings right
I
now.
love my dog.
yeah, I loved my dog too. But listen, the dogs love where the food comes from, and if you die, the dog will just fucking eat your face
you.
while you're
Yeah.
gone. Like, all right, there's not.
I loved him too.
Yeah, that was it. Like, they'll wait 20 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
all right, this guy's not. I'm done.
funny.
I'm not done into animals. But yeah, so I think we should show, at least from my perspective. And anyway, I just want to thank both of you for coming on and let me
thank
use
you.
the space for the first episode.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is my
man.
first like official podcast. This is
That's
fun.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
thank
awesome.
You.
So
Thank you, Mick.
go follow Jess. Where can people find you?
It's just my name on Instagram, Jess_Capurso. So
Okay, do you want to
yeah,
spell
and
that? 'Cause Italians
Jess
are-
JESS
Okay.
_CAPURSO, and you got to follow Strong Island Boxing as well.
Of
you know.
course.
And everyone's got to come down and take one of our classes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you got to come down. Anyway, thanks so much for listening, liking, subscribing, watching. Maguire's May 1st. I'm headlining there in Bohemia. Tickets are
We'll
on
be there.
sale. They might be gone already. I don't know. But thanks for watching, and wash your hands, you dirty fuckers. Good luck to you. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. Thanks,
Peace.
everybody.
Awesome. That was good.